Welcome back to the FreeGame Producer Podcast. I'm Brian Andre here in the luxurious Bandwidth Studios in the A Room. I got across from me, man, the multi-platinum super producer, Will Power in the building. How you doing, sir?
What it do, man?
We got a very, very special guest. We had this guest on episode 42, 5.5 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Real dope producer, man. He's laid the blueprint out for how to be super successful in the industry, kind of like on the low though. You know what I'm saying? He's had hits with Jordan Lucas, Mount Westmore with Ice Cube, E40 and Too Short. You know what I'm saying?
Benton, like I'm finna go way back.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, episode 42, you can listen to it. He gives his whole like backstory, which is real dope, and he laid out what he wanted to do. And I'll be damn, man, he did all that stuff he said he's gonna do.
That's right.
In episode 42,
that's super dope.
Yeah, for real, man. Recently, Rihanna Marie, the So Pretty record, blew up on TikTok. You know what I'm saying? This the man that produced that record. You know? So we had Kato in the building.
Yeah.
Kato on the track in the building.
Gentlemen.
What's
Kato,
up?
Mr. Crack the Code. I love it, man.
How you doing, bro?
Listen, bro, thank you for coming, man.
Of course, thank you for having me again.
This is dope, man. We go way back. I would like to say, Kato and I kind of came into this in a certain class of people.
Yeah.
So we kind of arrived around the same time, and we've all been just kind of doing our things, man. And what's been really dope about you, man, is just the steady progression, like steady taking off and steady just kind of entering a whole new era of all music business.
Thank you, bro.
And production. And it's fire because, like Brian was saying, man, in our last interview, we talked about all these things when they were like really infant.
Yeah.
And it was like super in the infancy stage, man. And like you were mapping it out at the time and just kind of like, well, I don't know if this is going to work, but I'm going to try it. And if it does, then boom. And things just started sticking, man. And now, like, I would put you in the class of people who everybody goes to for inspiration, motivation, and even like mentorship. Because it's like we're all going, how the fuck did he make $100,000?
Yeah.
How the fuck did he sell all these beats? How did he go? So thank you, man, for coming, bro. Because I know you could be doing a million things, man. But I really appreciate you.
Of course, man.
Yeah,
just for y'all.
Yeah,
just
man.
for y'all.
My man.
We were talking about cracking the code, but it seems like you've had a lot of success on TikTok.
Yeah.
Millions and millions and millions and millions of
Please
people
share.
dropping in. How did the whole So Pretty record come about?
That started with me posting a beat. Well, I should preface this by saying that I got on TikTok probably end of 2019, and I was kind of hesitant to get on it because back then it still had the stigma of being like a dance trend app. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was like, man, what am I gonna do on there?
Yeah.
And my business partner, his name is Benton James. He is the one who was like always in my ear about TikTok. He was like, yo, you got to start posting on TikTok, start uploading stuff. And I was like, all right, well, I guess what I did start to see was people duetting. Like they would take someone else's video and do a split screen and they'd like do something on top of that original video. And I was like, all right, well, that means that if I upload my beats, people can start duetting my beats and just dropping freestyles. So that might be kind of dope.
Yeah.
And so I started doing that. I think the third beat that I posted was the So Pretty beat.
Wow.
And it didn't take off right away, actually. It didn't blow up right away. It was kind of like a steady kind of incline of like views and more people commenting. And I would say probably maybe 2 months after I posted it is when I saw Rihanna Maria's, because my TikTok started blowing up.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, where are all these people coming from? And so I just kept digging and I saw that it was like this 18-year-old Australian girl from Melbourne, Australia, and she had done like a 20-second freestyle over that beat, and it just started to blow up.
Jeez.
And from that, just so much happened so fast.
Yeah.
It was insane. I mean, thank God I have a good team around me, because if it was just me, I would not have been prepared for that shit. Like, it just, things happened so fast, and the virality of that video and that sound started to spread so quick, where it was like every day it was getting almost 100,000 new videos created to that sound on TikTok.
Wow.
And we were just watching this happen in real time, and we were like, all right, what do we do?
Yeah.
You know? And when I noticed that it was really gonna do something big is when record labels started reaching out to me. So they started emailing me, sending me messages like, yo, we see you on TikTok. What's up with this So Pretty record? We want to talk.
Yeah.
And this was in the middle of the pandemic.
Wow.
So everyone was at home, and all we did all day was just take Zoom meetings with, you know, Craig Callum of Atlantic and, you know, every single record label in the world we had Zoom meetings with.
Wow.
And Rihanna actually ended up signing a record deal with Steven Victor and Republic Records.
Wow.
The crazy part is that 20-second freestyle that she did on TikTok was the very first song that she had ever made in her life.
Wow.
And she got a record deal off of TikTok.
Yo, this is crazy, bro.
And so we, you know, when the sound started to blow up, the first thing that came to our mind was like, yo, we got to make this an actual song.
Yeah.
And so we got on a Zoom session, me and Rihanna, and she lives in Melbourne, Australia. So they're like, what, 17 hours 17 hours ahead or something.
Yeah.
And so I remember being on a Zoom session with her. We had set up the session with a studio that we found in Melbourne, Australia. And like, we were just going back and forth, and you know, we sat there on the Zoom session, me, my co-songwriter Crash, and Rihanna and her team.
Dope.
And we recorded the whole song there in someone's living room.
That's crazy.
Over Zoom.
That's dope.
That's nuts.
And then, and then Tyga jumped on the remix, and, you know, it was insane.
What a journey, man. Because like you have always sort of been the person, man, who knew that social media was the upswing for producers and just the business of production. You've never really been like a big like placement chaser.
Yeah.
Like you were always the person who was smart enough to bring artists to you, bring them into your wheelhouse, and figure out how to make it a part of your branding and the things that you've always done.
Right.
I think that journey is incredible, man. And to watch it like come to fruition is like sort of spooky, man. It's like, yo, because I mean, a lot of people don't realize, man, like you were a part of the very first big recognition moments of like Joyner Lucas and people like that. Like they were a part of your contest.
Yeah.
Like your way of giving back to artists and in creative ways of collaborating and things like that. It's like that shit popped off basically as a brainchild of like your own, you know, business system. You were talking about like if you didn't have a team, you wouldn't have been prepared for the takeoff.
Right.
What does that sort of mean? Like, was it, what was going on to where y'all were able to like be like, okay, shit's getting real. Here we go.
So there were a lot of business decisions that went on behind the scene when So Pretty took off, because it became so big that everyone wanted a piece of it.
Yeah.
And you know those conversations, like when labels start reaching out to you, they want to do business. Those conversations, if you don't have the proper leverage, or if you don't have the right negotiating skills or people on your team that can negotiate for you, you're going to end up signing a bad deal. And, you know, people were offering me pub deals, people were offering me label deals, and ultimately, we just didn't end up signing anything. But actually, so our original plan when So Pretty took off was we want this to be a Kato on the Track record.
Yeah.
Kato on the Track featuring Rihanna Maria, or Kato on the Track and Rihanna Maria. We wanted to brand it as like a Kato on the Track thing, because we felt like, okay, this whole trend started with my beat, my production. You know what I mean? And so we went to the negotiating table once she signed to Steven Victor,
Yeah.
that kind of changed things.
Yeah.
Because she's no longer independent.
Right.
Right. And, you know, of course, they're going to want to acquire the record. They're going to want to buy the master. And we still felt like we had a certain amount of leverage because they can't release the song without my beat.
Come on.
So, you see what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So, we were like, all right. So that whole process of just negotiating, okay, well, if y'all want the beat, you have to give us X, right?
Yeah.
And the one thing I will say about Steven Victor is that dude is a beast.
Yeah.
And he knows how to negotiate.
That's right.
So he wasn't really having it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just be straight up. He wasn't having it. He didn't want my name attached to the record, you know, which is understandable. I try not to take these things personally because I'm like, it's business at the end of the day. But he was like, we want this to be a Rihanna Maria record. We'll still give you production credit. We'll give you X amount of dollars for the advance. But this has to be a Rihanna Maria record.
Yeah.
And so we were like, okay, cool. Then give us $100,000 for the beat.
Yeah. Yeah.
Straight up.
Like you want me out of here.
If you want my name off of it, then this is what we want, or else y'all can't put out the song.
Right.
And that process went back and forth for almost a month.
Yeah.
And it's tough to be in that situation because we're seeing the numbers run up. You have a small window of time when something like that goes viral to capitalize on it.
That's right. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we were seeing day by day these negotiations going back and forth, and we brought out the big guns. Like we got Billy Mann on our side, who was a, you know, big industry exec. We had the best lawyers on it. Like we knew what we were doing, but you know, it's pretty much
still
like
time of the essence.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Time was of the essence, and we wanted to get what we wanted from it. Right.
Yeah.
Ultimately, the song ended up coming out. Tyga got involved in the situation. He's actually the one who brought Steven Victor on. This is a whole nother story that I'll go back to. But the song came out. You know, I got a nice advance off of it.
Yeah.
I got points on the master. I got my publishing.
Yeah.
You know, it was a win for everyone.
Happy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's dope, man. Yeah, I think that's part of the, you know, what's happening in the game right now, man. People are just really wising up to what the real play is here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm thankful, man, to hear that you fought for what you wanted and was able to get somewhere happy. You know what I'm saying?
Man.
Like, I think that's really dope because so many of us, man, do this. You know, we'll go work on some shit.
Yeah.
And all we get in return is like a producer deck. And that producer deck, bro, is telling you, just it's not people don't realize it's something you don't have to accept.
Right.
However, we usually get it, and that's where we're all like, "Oh, cool, this is finna happen."
Yeah.
So we sign it, and next thing you know, you gave up all your rights. You have nothing. It's just, you know, it's whatever. But I think it's really dope that you stood for that, man, and stood on it, and just like, you know. Yeah, that's what's up.
Shout out to the people in my corner.
Yeah.
You know, I got to give it up for them because without them, I would have been a deer in headlights.
Yeah.
You know, like
That's
I
dope.
had great people in my corner, and they advised me every step of the way, like, yo, we need to stand firm on this. You know,
fire.
this is what we want. And it was chess.
So my question to you then is, it seems like you've figured out, at least for a period of time, because we understand that like all of this social media stuff changes randomly, but it seems like you've kind of like cracked the code on like how to be on TikTok and working and discovering new ways to like collaborate with people.
Yeah.
Because this isn't the only one that's gone viral.
Right.
Like you've had several at this point, and like you might be the only person I know that is getting it off that way. So like, is that like because do you think it's because you've kind of accumulated like a fan base, people who are like sort of checking for you? Like what do you think is, you know?
Honestly, bro, I think it's just my overall mentality and approach to doing what I'm doing
Yeah.
changed a while ago when I stopped seeing myself as just a producer.
Come on, man.
Right? It's like I can be way more than this, especially with all the tools that we have, like social media and TikTok and the internet and email and text and all these different ways to communicate and to reach an audience. I just saw what the artists around me were doing, you know?
Yep.
Yeah.
Like they were not just one-dimensional artists. They were becoming entrepreneurs.
Yeah, man.
And I saw that and I was like, that's what this
You
is
know
going
what?
to be.
I want to speak to that, man. Because, like, I can say, bro, because I keep up with you, man. Really, I follow you. I'm a huge fan of what you've done and who you are. But the big thing that I love about you, man, is you are certainly aligned with some really great entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Like, Joyner Lucas is a brilliant entrepreneur.
Crazy.
Futuristic is a brilliant entrepreneur.
Crazy.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you came out of the school of, like, Funk Volume. Them motherfuckers were brilliant entrepreneurs, bro. And like these people are like known for crafting their way, and you right in the mix. It's like you're just one other chess piece on the board that's like, hey, I'm doing this and I do it the way that I see fit. Yeah. And I appreciate it because we talk to people all the time. I'm entrepreneur myself, but there are so many things that are just like left in the dark. And you're one of the people who tend to bring it to the light and like you're cool with it. It's not industry shit. It's like, yo, this is black and white.
Yeah.
And that leads me to what I was thinking of to asking. You said something in your last answer that I kind of thought about, because Will and I have been talking about off camera about the whole master ownership thing. And my thing is, where does producers fall in there with master? And I saw you posted something a few weeks ago.
Here we go.
We're futuristic
Let's
about
go.
that.
That's how I was on
Let's
that
get
one.
into it.
Because my thing is, if producers are really helping make half the thing, how come they don't get the master, any part of the master? But you said something important. You said, look, if an artist, I'm paraphrasing, of course.
Yeah.
If an artist has their song, it's their master pretty much.
Yeah.
If you want to own a master, make your own record. And you mentioned you attempted to do that with So Pretty.
Yeah.
So what is the mindset in terms of being an entrepreneur and trying to get into master ownership? And is that kind of like something you see yourself doing in the future?
I mean, look, at the end of the day, it comes to what you said. It's all about what you can negotiate.
Yeah.
Right? But when you look at it from a leverage standpoint, it's like if producers want to own their own masters, you have to play the role of the artist at the end of the day, because the artist isn't just jumping in the studio and making the music and then pressing upload.
Yeah.
They're doing everything to put that record in front of people.
Yeah.
Without those people, that record has no financial value, no monetary value.
Right.
It doesn't matter who owns the master at that point. If it's not making money, like, what are we really doing?
Right. Exactly.
You know? So the work that the artist puts in, touring, promoting, social media, content, it's like all these things, shooting videos, putting up their budget to like get in the studio, get it mixed, get it mastered, recording time. Like, it's a lot of things that go into promoting a record and getting it in front of people.
Right.
That's why they own the master.
Yeah.
That's why labels want to sign them and take control of the master, because that artist has put in all the work on the back end to make sure that they have a fan base that is consuming the music.
Yeah.
If producers are not doing that part, there's only a certain amount of leverage that you have going into that conversation.
Right.
So of course, producers always get your publishing, right?
Yeah.
That's a given.
Yep.
But when it comes to the master, like, you just got to understand that there's a certain amount of work that has to be done to get that music in front of people.
You got to boss up. I mean, I think in a lot of cases, where producers fall short in the master conversation is they don't include themselves in the business of.
Yes.
It's like you just want to make the beat and that's
100%.
it. And it's like now you over here screaming just the wrong shit. It's
Right.
like, but like if you're, let's say you find an artist and you're developing it and you're dropping bread on it and you're doing, then you can start to have these conversations about it. Master ownership is about, low key people just won't say it. It's about who the fuck is paying for shit.
Right.
And like who's really putting up the bread to make the record be what it is.
Yep.
And sometimes it's in most cases, independently, it's the artist, because
100%.
the artist is like, I'm doing my own shit. So yeah.
Now
man.
let's talk about the other side to that, right? Is like, doing what me and Jaron did in the beginning.
Yeah.
We were both new. Nobody, like, we didn't really have a fan base.
Right down the middle.
It was a partnership in that situation. Like, he wasn't paying me for my beats, but I just thought he was dope. I just wanted to make great music with him. I believed in him.
Yep.
And when it came time to doing a project and we were both still independent, we were like, let's do this 50-50.
Yeah.
You know, and we both eat on the back end, and that incentivizes both of us. We have skin in the game to, like, actually do this shit together.
Super
you know, because
dope,
that's what it takes. It really takes more than just one person to make something pop like that.
That's right.
That's leverage though, because you, as a producer, you had to leverage in that, because if he doesn't have any money, he needs you, right?
Right.
Yeah,
it was
crazy.
one hand washing the other.
That's super dope. I've been on both sides of that, man. Like, I've been on the side where, because, you know, I came in with Yella, of course, and musically, we were definitely like 50-50 creators. You know what I'm saying? But the moment we turned that record into the label, it was over. It was like, it was over. That ownership shit was out the door. And so, but I'll tell you one thing I didn't know then that I know now. I did have leverage then, and I didn't know to use it because I turned in an entire project that he and I did before any deal. You understand what I'm saying? And then they re-released it.
Okay.
So it went from being like a mixtape project, which has this enormous amount of value, to let's see, can we get it based off of some type of damn producer deck?
Right.
So I ended up not getting nearly what it was worth at the time. But it's
you
all
learn.
good.
You learn from those situations.
Learn,
We've
man.
all made those mistakes. And so that's why I'm so big on just talking about it in my content, so that someone else doesn't make the same mistake and they can, you know, like,
I love it,
understand
man.
what they bring to the table.
I wanted to kind of chop it up with you, man, about your fan base and how you relate to them, react to them, provide for them.
Yeah.
Yada yada, man.
Get them to show up when you go on the road.
Like, you're doing dope shit, bro. Like, I'm glad that you said you approach this now like an artist and like an entrepreneur, because it makes sense now. You don't, like, you're an entity, and everyone who's a part of your circle of influence is, you know, buying into your entity. And I just think it's dope. But I watch you, man. I watch you interact with people. I watch you interact with trolls. It's like sometimes you got to just get out here and say, like, bro, you just don't understand what's going on, so let me explain it to you.
Yeah.
You never really like brash or like on some bullshit with people. What is your mentality when it comes to your fan base and your following?
My mentality is I'm grateful for all of it. Whether you're a troll or a supporter, or you've seen me since day one working with Jaron, or you just found me on TikTok yesterday. You know, I'm grateful for every single person that listens to my music, buys beats, you know, pays for a course, whatever, you know? And so I always just try to come from that place. But, you know, I won't lie. If you catch me on a bad day, like, I'll definitely clap back. But in most situations, I can approach it with just from a place of gratitude, bro.
That's super
because
dope.
It's so hard to do what we do.
Yeah.
And I put in so much time and energy to get here. And so the fact that I'm here and people support it, what more could you ask for? So how has content changed my life? I mean, so for me, what I had to learn as a content creator is that it's all about story. Figuring out ways to tell your story.
Yeah.
And that's the part that took me the longest to learn.
Yeah.
Because it's not just like, here, let me set my camera up and just press record, right? It's like telling it in a way that's compelling, telling it in a way that for me is relatable for my audience, and just doing it in a way that makes people feel something.
Yeah.
You know, that's what we do as musicians and producers and artists. We create music that makes people feel something.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if there's one rule to content creation, it's that you have to create something that makes people feel something, whether it makes them laugh, whether it makes them cry, whether it's informative and they're like, oh shit, like I'm learning something right now.
Yeah.
Or you have to invoke some type of emotion. As long as you do that, it's great content.
That's
you
dope,
know,
man.
and that's what I've just spent so many years just trying to perfect, like, how do I tell this story? That's why I talk about so much of like my past and my come up, and because I know my audience.
Yeah.
They're mostly aspiring artists, producers, songwriters, engineers.
So you motivate.
They relate to that shit.
That's right, bro.
Because I started from where they are. So I know what that journey's like.
Yeah.
And when I talk about that, you know, like, I can tell. That's why I stay in my comments, bro, and I see how many people say like, yo, this is so inspiring. Like, how did you know this is what I'm going through right now? Because I've been there. Yeah. You know, and it's just figuring out ways to tell that story is all.
Yeah.
You have so much conviction too in all your posts. You can tell that you really believe it and that you really
1000%,
you really went through it. You
100%.
But I wanted to ask about a minute ago you were talking about, you know, the different income streams and about how, you know, you got the courses and you have the live tour. You've got the publishing. You sell beats. Again, 5 years ago you were on our show and you were talking about these various things. How much of these things you had to stay patient with? You know, what didn't work at first and you stuck with it? What did you have to just throw out the window? When do you know to stick with something? Because I believe wholeheartedly in multiple streams of income, hence 11 ways. But the issue is sometimes if it's not working at first. Because I feel like you got to take a while. You got to take a minute to get a pot to go. And you put a pot on the stove, we cut it on. It's gonna take a few minutes to boil. Yeah. But when do you say, you know what, it's not gonna boil, throw it away, or just when do you sit with it? And how does that work for you?
I mean, first of all, nothing works the first time.
Yeah.
We know that.
Right.
Like, nothing's gonna work from the jump.
But most folks quit though. Yeah. They had this ambition. We're gonna do this. This makes sense. You know what? It ain't working. Fuck it. Right. Sometimes you can say fuck it, but other times you just probably stick with it.
So here's my thing: is that my GPS tells me, like, my intuition will tell me whether I should keep going or not. Because if it's something that I love and something that I enjoy doing, there's really no such thing as quitting.
Come on.
It's just a matter of getting better and learning. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
So that's first and foremost for me. It's like, I'm just gonna chase things that I love. And as long as I love it, it's only gonna get better. Right. You know? And the things that don't work are the things that I just don't like that much, or maybe it's uninspiring. Like, you know, as great as selling beats online is, I know how much time to dedicate to that, because I personally don't get as much fulfillment from that as like working on new records with an artist that I found on TikTok that like now we're locking in and doing a whole album together. Like, that's fun for me. Yeah. So I'm not going to be spending that time like running my beat store and putting up new beats and uploading stems and you know what I mean?
You know what though? But there was a time where that was the most important thing.
Yeah, for sure.
So like, is that, I guess that you're kind of answering the question in a, you know, it's kind of like move on as one starts to bubble. Yeah. Like find ways to let go of the other one once you get it up and running, because you don't really need to be there to promote your beat store that much now, because we all know it's there and it's a part of your branding. Right. But I can imagine before it all took off, you probably spent many hours sitting there. A lot of time. Yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, I still love it because it allows me to discover new artists that are buying my beats through my beat store. Like, independent artists are always hitting me up like, yo, where can I get beats from you? You know? Yeah. And so that told me, all right, I need to have some type of platform where artists can come, they can buy beats from me. You know, I'm not charging an arm and a leg for it. And I've discovered artists like Joyner Lucas through that. Yeah, doing my contest through the beat store, and like artists like Token, and it's been incredible just from an A&R perspective and from a development standpoint. And that's why I continue doing it. You know, there is a reason behind it. It's not just the money. It's not just like those kind of surface level things. There's a reason to it. You know what I mean? I'm
glad you said A&R. Have you thought about that? Like taking a A&R position somewhere?
I'm waiting for someone to make me the right offer, and then I'll think about it more.
Like all them labels that called, like none of them smart enough to say, maybe we should fucking hire this dude.
You know, but that's okay, because in the meantime, I'm just going to be my own A&R, and then we'll do a 50-50 partnership and drop it our damn self, you know? Man.
Bro, this has been an incredible conversation, man. I thank you for
I got a few
coming.
more questions, though.
Oh, you got some more questions. Let's keep going. Fuck that. Let's go.
Inside Songhouse Live.
Yeah.
And again, we don't want to be respectful of your time, so I'm going to make it quick. But Inside Songhouse Live, like, what was that experience like?
It was amazing.
And what was it for the people that may not know what it was?
All right, so Songhouse Live was a reality show that I did. It's still being shopped and developed to any major like streaming platform, but it was a reality show that I shot for 6 weeks, where it was a house full of TikTokers making music, and I played the role of the in-house music producer plus the host of the show.
Fire.
So it was kind of a new lane for me, but it was something that we were like passionate about me exploring. It's like, all right, why don't I get into the whole like hosting personality kind of lane? And so that allowed me to do it, but just being, I mean, it went how you can imagine it going, being in a house full of like 18 and 21-year-old TikTokers making music for the first time and like figuring out their direction. You know, none of them were like polished, seasoned artists. So we had to really help them discover their kind of sound and their voice, you know?
That's dope.
It was
I look forward to seeing that, like whenever that.
It was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
It was pretty crazy. There was some drama that went down too.
Hey,
of course.
man.
You got to make it good.
Yeah.
All right, big subwoofer. I can't let you get out of here without talking about that, man. I'm a 90s baby. You know, Ice Cube, Too Short, E40.
Yeah.
How did that song come
Legends.
about? How did that song come about, and how does it feel to see that song do what it did?
Incredible. I mean, legends, bro.
Yeah.
And I really gotta shout out E40.
Yeah.
He, first of all, have y'all met E40 before?
Not yet.
Never.
One of the coolest people I've ever met in my life.
Wow.
Like, and I don't say that about a lot of people, especially rappers.
Yeah, yeah.
But E40 is legit one of the coolest people I've ever met.
Wow.
Super humble, not on some like Hollywood shit. Like he's grown, man. Like he's been in this shit for a long time. So E40 reached out to me on Instagram one day, and I was like, oh shit.
Wow.
And he was like, yo, I love what you're doing. I'm working on this secret project with Snoop Dogg, Ice Cube, and Too Short.
Yeah.
And I was like, huh? Like, what? And of course I was all over it. And he was like, send me some beats. So I sent him a pack, and Big Subwoofer was one of those beats. We had the hook already on there. That was my boy Crash who did the hook. And he hit me back and he was like, yo, we're in the studio recording this right now.
That's dope.
Nice.
Shout out to Crash, man.
Insane.
Can I
Shout out to
ask?
Crash.
Let me ask about that, man, because I think that's something also that producers forget.
Yes.
It's always dope to have a dope collaborator or two
Man.
to fuck with, to bounce ideas off of and to do shit. Like, can you speak on that? Yeah.
I'm all about that these days. It's
Yeah.
collaboration, working with songwriters,
Super
co-producers.
dope. Yeah.
Like, I've gotten to the point in my career where I feel like I haven't done everything, but sometimes I'll feel like I've tapped out on my own ideas.
Yeah.
You know, like my creativity sometimes can hit a ceiling.
Yeah.
And when you hit that ceiling, you got to figure out new ways to work out of that creative funk,
That's
you
dope.
know? And so for me, that's all about collaboration. So Crash is a dope songwriter out of LA. And I linked with him through my business partner, and we just, like, the dude is a killer.
Yeah.
Like, one of the best songwriters that I know, hands down.
That's fire.
And he wrote the Big Subwoofer hook. We had another record with Mount Westmore that hasn't dropped, that he did the hook on. He helped Rihanna Maria with So Pretty.
Nice.
Like, dude is a killer. So I just love working with songwriters.
That's fire, man.
Dope. And also, being the producer podcast, I gotta ask, man, what is your go-to software, hardware these days that you like using in the studio?
Go-to software. So Native Instruments just sent me a bunch of their complete ultimate bundle.
Yeah.
I just been going to town, like going crazy on that. What else do I use? Slate Digital has some great VSTs and plugins that I've been using. Isotope.
Nice.
I use Reason. I know that's like a it's like a rare thing.
Is that your favorite dog? Is that your dog?
That's my dog of choice.
That's super dope.
Yeah.
Super
What do you
dope.
use, bro?
I'm on Ableton, bro.
Ableton.
Yes, sir.
You've been using that for a minute?
Yeah, man. I've been on it now. What I would say 7 years, maybe.
Okay,
6
so
or 7 years. Yeah.
You know that back and forth.
Surgical.
Yeah. That's what you want to find. You want to find a DAW that like you just know your workflows. Like.
Yeah. I was on Logic for most of my career.
Okay.
So I love Logic, man. But like I had some moments where when I learned Ableton, it was like, how could I ever do anything else? It's like perfect for the way my brain works. So
interesting.
And I always tell people, man, when you're with your DAW, make sure it's just the one that works best with your brain. Because we all kind of see things differently. Like we react to colors differently. It's all kinds of shit. And so, you know, for a long time, I couldn't stand to sit in front of Pro Tools.
Yeah.
And then they got wise and started giving you options on how to change like the skin of it. And so now I can work.
Yeah, it's just the interface, right? It's like whatever interface makes the most sense to you. Because Reason's interface is a lot different from most. It's like a virtual rack system. So like everything that you guys have here, it's the virtual version of that. So that kind of trips people up sometimes.
Right.
For me, it was like, man, this is interesting.
Yeah, I made some really dope shit in Reason until I had to learn Rewire and like how to make. I was like, I'm over this shit. But it does. It bangs. As a matter of fact,
they changed that, by the way.
Anthem uses it, and Anthem beats fucking slap too, bro. So
there's a couple of us out there that use Reason.
Yeah, that's fire, man.
Who else uses? I feel like there's,
bro, Crit uses Reason, bro. He was on there hard, bro.
Fire. Shout
I
out
think
to
I
Crit.
might have converted him though. The guy got there and got him over there on Ableton a couple times, you know. We got a couple Fruity Loops guys in here.
FL, man. FL gang is always out here.
Always,
strong.
bro. Ready to shoot too, bro.
I'd say 9 times out of 10, I'm like, what do you use? Fruity Loops?
Yeah, bro.
I'm like, okay. One of those.
Gotta love it.
Where can everybody find you at? Where can they? Your website, your website is A1.
Yeah,
thank you.
By the way, like that's a blueprint for what a producer website should look like, in my opinion. So let everybody know where they can find you at.
My website is KatoOnTheTrack.com. Social media at Kato Producer, all one word on all platforms. You know, hit me up anytime.
Super dope, man.
I appreciate y'all, man. Thanks for having me.
This was fire, bro.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Gems on gems.
There it is.
FreeGame Podcast.
Free game.